All right, guys, how's it going? I am back with another video. This is going to be my picks for week 4 of the NFL season this year. So yeah, sorry guys, video's gonna be coming out later than I anticipated. It's about 10 o'clock right now as I'm recording it. Saturday before games kick off tomorrow, majority of the games at least. Obviously, we already had Thursday game kickoff a couple days ago. I just had a super busy day today, past couple days, so I apologize. I've just been super slammed, but better late than never, I guess, right? So I'll just dive straight in here. So I did get the Thursday game right. Always good to get the Thursday game right. Start off 1-0. Both teams in this one kind of tried to hand the game to each other. An absolutely insane game. Thought the Falcons blew it when Mooney dropped it, but and then the Bucs had that block field. I'm like, yep, Falcons just blew this one. Got another chance. Cousins threw a pick on fourth and forever. I'm like, yep, they blew it. But they ended up pulling it out. That was an insane win. I'll talk about that game more in my recap video, but insane win. Glad I got that one right. Okay, so tomorrow, first game. We get the first one game of the year. Jets and Vikings. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Vikings in this one. They're just the better football team right now. And yeah, they're just the better football team, obviously. They had a very impressive game for about a half, maybe three quarters against the Packers last week, then collapsed in the fourth, maybe got a little bit complacent, but they ended up pulling it out. They moved the ball and they had to. Just too much prevent defense, I think, but they'll be fine defensively once they get back to their normal routes. I think that's going to be a problem for the Jets offense. The Jets offense had a shitter last week. They put up only 9 points against Broncos, lost that very ugly game. And yeah, I mean, Jets moved the ball throughout the game through portions, but you got to score more than 9 points. And even if Zerline got that field goal, they're only scoring 12 points. And even though the Broncos defense has been really good this season, really solid, really underrated, you got to score more than 9 points against the Broncos. I mean, come on. With Aaron Rodgers, your quarterback, and Bo Nix with 60 passing yards on the day, and you lose, so your offense only puts up 9. That was a bad loss. The Vikings defense is better than the Broncos defense. And I think Brian Flores is going to give Nathaniel Hackett a lot of problems with his disguise scheme. Looks like he's going to send the blitz, backs off. Looks like he's going to play zone, ends up blitzing guys, things like that. I think he's going to give Nathaniel Hackett some issues game planning. Rodgers, smart enough, he might be able to identify some of the disguises, buffs that Flores is going to run tomorrow. Vikings defense is just better than the Broncos defense this season so far. You know, the Broncos defense again has been pretty good. Vikings defense has been really, really good this year. Obviously not the fourth quarter last week, but besides that, also heavy. The Broncos have been a heavy blitz defense. Obviously, that gave the Packers. So I'm still saying the Packers when I talked about Aaron Rodgers, but obviously that gave the Jets last week a problem. And Brian Flores, obviously a big blitz heavy defensive coach, so that could give the Jets some problems. I just think the Jets offense is gonna not play as bad as they did last week against the Broncos, but I think the Jets offense is only going to be able to score around 17-ish to 20, which that's not horrible, but I think the Vikings offense is going to have a pretty good day, but I think the Jets defense is really solid too. I think they'll have a pretty good game to have a good amount of success stopping the Vikings offense. So I think the Vikings offense is going to be good enough to score around anywhere from 24 to 27. I definitely can see the Jets winning this game. A bounce back win after a bad loss last week. I could definitely see that. And I don't know if it matters too much. The Vikings have played pretty well in London over the past few years when they've had to travel internationally. So there's that. I feel pretty good with the Vikings in this game. They are due for a loss, though. They are due for a loss. So maybe this is it. Would not be surprised if the Jets win, but I feel fairly comfortable with the Vikings in this one. Oh, this could be an interesting one. Panthers Bears. So I'm definitely going the Bears in this game. Most people are 83% in my pool. But I think this is a trap game for the Bears because even though the Panthers are 1-3 the past 2 weeks with Andy Dalton, they've looked really good. Obviously, they won 2 weeks ago in blowout fashion. Raiders scored in garbage time to make it look more respectable and closer than it was, but Panthers dominated that game pretty much. And then last week they were kind of right there with the Bengals, neck and neck most of the game until the Bengals pulled away in the second half there. But the Panthers offense has been pretty good the past 2 weeks. And their defense played good 2 weeks ago, not so great last week. But Bears offense has obviously been struggling this year, so the Panthers defense could put in a good performance, and the Panthers offense could keep them in this game. But the Bears defense, I think, is gonna have a really good performance. They've been really good all year, even dating back to the back half of the season last year when they got Sweat. They've been they were the top scoring defense in the league the last 8 games of the year. Last year, if I remember right, it's not that they're the number one scoring defense this year. I actually don't know who that is, but I don't think it's the Bears. The top of my head, I don't remember, but I don't think it's the Bears. But yeah, I just think the Bears defense is gonna cause some issues to the Panthers. Their Bears defense is super good this year, just like last year, back half of last year. I think this is I think the Bears defense is gonna have a good game. And the Bears offense past 2 weeks has kind of got it going. The last week they were very slow to start the game, and then they kind of picked it up as the game went on. DeAndre Swift got it going. So the Bears offense, obviously the Panthers defense has not been good this year. So at home, this could be a good breakout game for the Bears offense. Get on the right track, continue where they left off last week. So yeah, I think the Panthers could steal this game. I'm not going to be absolutely shocked if they do. I will be a little surprised, but I think this could be a trap game for the Bears, trap game for the Bears. I mean, Panthers are a respectable team. At least the first 2 games of Dalton starting, so would not be too surprised the Panthers win. But I think the Bears offense has a good game. The Bears defense is a good game, and I think the Bears win this game. I feel pretty confident in that. I think the Bears will win by 10, 13-ish points. I'm going to say that. Maybe even a bit more. Who knows? But I do feel good with the Bears winning that game. Ooh, this is going to be a good game. Interesting game here. Ravens and Bengals. I think the Bengals are just getting the Ravens at a really bad time. Bengals defense is, oh boy, they played good the first 2 games, then week 3, and then last week against the Panthers, they didn't play that great. And specifically, the Bengals defense is having a really tough time stopping the run. And what have the Ravens done the past 2 weeks? Very well, run the ball. Derrick Henry has got it going the past 2 weeks. Lamar's got it going the past 2 weeks. They've turned into back to the typical Ravens offense of a run first, pass second offense. And they've absolutely killed their opponents past 2 weeks, the Cowboys and the Bills rushing. So I think Derrick Henry is going to have a monster game in this one. I think Lamar could cause some issues to the Bengals. And the Bengals defense, yeah, I just think this could be a rough showing for the Bengals defense. I just think they're getting the Ravens at the wrong time. The Ravens are clicking right now. They're getting hot. Bengals getting them at a bad time. But, the Bengals, they picked up their win last week, 1-3. Definitely should have a better record than that. They definitely should have beaten the Chiefs. They should be at least 2-2. Then, I mean, you can make an argument they should be 4-0, but, that's a what if. You can do that for every team. The fact is, reality is that they're 1-3. But yeah, who knows? I mean, they're at home. Definitely, of course, it's possible they're going to win. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they won. I think the Ravens are. Let me check the line on this game. I think the Ravens are favored. Oh, wonderful. Chiefs eyeing wide receiver trades. Oh, God. Great. Bail Mahomes out with another stud receiver. Why don't we? Okay, let me see the line on this game. Yeah, Ravens are favored by 2.5. I would probably say that's about right. I mean, the Bengals offense has been really good this season besides week 1. Week 2, week 3, and week 4, they've been very, very efficient. They've been moving the ball up down the field, scoring. They've been playing really well. The Ravens defense has played pretty well the last 2 weeks, except the fourth quarter of that Dallas game where they got gashed, gave up a bunch of points, almost allowed that insane comeback. But they played very well last week against the Bills. Absolutely insane performance against the Bills last week. But I think the Bengals offense is going to have a fairly efficient day, similar output to what they've had the past couple games. Maybe a little less scoring because the Ravens defense is better than the past two defenses the Bengals have played. But yeah, of course, it's possible the Bengals win. Would not be surprised at all. At home division game, Bengals know they do not want to fall to 1-4, but my gut's telling me that the Ravens are coming in at the right time. Bengals are getting them at the wrong time. I'm gonna have to go with the Ravens in this game. As much as it pains me, my Super Bowl pick is gonna be 1-4 of my predictions right. I'll be rooting for the Bengals though. Oh boy, here we go. What a game this is gonna be. The Dolphins and my team. So we were favored by a grand total of, well, originally I saw the line, at least on the app I used, Fliff was even. Then we were favored by one, and now I saw the Dolphins are favored by one. So no one knows what the hell is going on in this game. Rightfully so. But both of us have been terrible this season. But I'm going with my team, and I feel pretty good about this pick. Yes, might be a little biased when I say that because, of course, it's my team. But I mean, let's just look at, yes, we've been bad. But week two, we played pretty good against Seahawks. I went on a rant, my week two recap video, about how we should have won that game. Still pissed off about that game. Week three, obviously, we played like shit. And then last week, we obviously played like shit. But I don't think our defense played as bad as the score suggests. They only gave up 23, technically. I know they gave up 30 on the scoreboard, and then the stats are going to go down like that. But one of them, 7 of the points came off a pick six from Brissett. Defense got torched, kind of got torched all game, but they held up. They really only held the Niners to 23. And the Dolphins have just been a mess since Tua's gone down. They put up 3 points against the Seahawks, and then they got blown up by the Titans last week. Their offense had got nothing going the entire game until really late. Huntley looked bad. The only fear I have about this game is Tyler Huntley is like, he can be an actual serviceable, solid quarterback if he has the right coaching, right system around him, like we saw in Baltimore. And he has another week under his belt with this offense, training with the guys, getting reps in. Last week, he just did not look in sync with the guys. So I think that'll be cleaned up. They'll be in sync more. But the Dolphins' defense has been pretty bad this year. I don't think it's actually as bad as a lot of people are saying, but it's been bad. They're banged up. And Dolphins are also struggling to stop the run. We love to run the shit out of the football. Alex Van Pelt. So Gibson's going to be starting this game after Stevenson has a lot of fumble issues. So, yep, my fantasy team, one of them I have Stevenson because I have to play Stevenson because I'm so banged up with injuries. So that hurts. He's still going to play, but he's just not going to start. Gibson's been he's had a lot of explosive plays for us this season. So I think Gibson could have a good game. I think we're just going to run the living shit out of the football in this game. I think we'll have success. Dolphins defense, I just think we're going to have success on it. Our offense. Dolphins offense, I mean, our defense has been pretty solid this year. I think we can. I mean, I know it's not saying a lot that we're going to hold the Dolphins in their third string or second string, whatever Huntley is now, the quarterback, to, a not great game, however you want to word it, phrase it, or whatever. I know it's not saying much, but our defense has been solid. I have faith our defense is going to play a good game tomorrow. There's talk about how the guys in the locker room for our team are just pissed off, just sick now that we've lost 3 games in a row. So I think they're going to come out motivated at home in front of the home fans. The home fans know the Dolphins are a shitty team that, we have a pretty good chance of winning this one. I just think at home, we get a better defense than the Dolphins. Our offensive strength is to run the ball. The Dolphins' defensive weakness is stopping the run. Our strength, another strength they have is defense. Dolphins struggling offensively. So our strengths, I think, right now are just going to exploit the Dolphins' weaknesses. Their weaknesses do not fit well with our strengths, I guess is what I'm saying here. So I'm going with my team. About 2/3 of my pool is 64% too. Dolphins are favored by 1. I mean, there is a scenario in my head where I can see the Dolphins offense kind of just getting it going. Hill's getting deep shots, Waddle's getting involved maybe. But I'm just going to think it's a really low scoring game, ugly, low scoring, a lot of running clock type of game here. I'm going to say my team wins. Very ugly game, probably like I don't know, like 13-ish, like 13-ish 10 type of game, maybe 17, 10, 13, something along those lines. Uh, I don't think I did a score prediction for this game. I'm going to say the Ravens win this game by 7 to 10 points. Maybe and that's bold. I don't know. I could see the Bengals winning. I'm kind of tempted to pick them, honestly, but I'm going to say the Ravens win around 28-24. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'll say 28-24-ish game for the Ravens, maybe 31-28, something like that. But I could kind of see the Ravens winning by more than one score, but I don't want to predict that because I think this could be a tight game. I don't know. I guess I'll say like around that range, the Ravens, but not too confident. Oh boy. So this is an interesting one. So everyone's getting on the Commanders hype train. I have been dead wrong about the Commanders this year, besides week one. I mean, the Commanders have, since week one, they've looked like one of the best. Well, not week two, really, but it was kind of an ugly game week two. But weeks three and week four, they've looked like one of the best teams in the league, more so offensively. Their offense has been unstoppable. They're setting records, completion records, just absolute putting up insane stats the past 2 weeks. So credit to the Commanders for that. I was wrong about them. Their defense has kind of played bad the first 3 games. Last week against the Cardinals, they had a really good game. So maybe that carries over. Definitely could. The Browns' offense is struggling massively, banged up on the offensive line. Commanders' pass rush, the highest paid pass rush in the league. They're front couple guys. They could cause some problems to the Browns front there. Offensively, I mean, I said last week I think the Commanders coming back down to earth. That did not happen. Proved me wrong. But yeah, I mean, everyone's getting on the Commanders train. They're favored in this game. I want to say by 3. So yeah, everyone's picking the Commanders. As you can see, I had the Commanders, and I am so sorry. I'm so sorry if anyone's watching this that's a Washington fan, but I'm gonna have to pick against your team again. I'm so sorry. I know I picked your team that'll lose every game this year. I don't mean to be a hater. I've enjoyed watching Jane Daniels and that offense go to work. They've been a fun team to watch, but I'm going with the Browns. I had the Commanders, but I was just thinking about it a bit more. I'm changing my pick to the Browns. Now, why am I doing that? Because logically, the Commanders probably should win this game. It's honestly kind of more of a gut feeling for me. The Browns are 1-3. They've so much talent on that team. Should not be 1-3. They know that. They're pissed off. They had a players meeting after they lost last week against the Raiders. The past 2 games, I mean, week one they deserved to lose. They just played like shit against Dallas. Week two they won. The past 2 weeks they should have won those games against the Giants and the Raiders. So their record probably should be flipped to 3-1. But again, the reality is they're 1-3. I mean, the Giants game they kind of got outplayed, but they had a late push at the end. They looks like they were going to score. They had all the momentum, then they fumbled, then they had another chance. They just blew it. But so I mean, maybe they did deserve to lose the game, but I think they definitely should have won last week against the Raiders. That Cooper touchdown callback, then the fumbled snap. Yeah, I think they had a lot of opportunities last week. They probably should have won. So maybe they can argue 3-1, maybe 2-2. But again, reality is they're 3-3. I just kind of have a gut feeling this is the game where the Commanders may look like the team we expected them to this year. Not a good team. And the Browns kind of just, pull their heads out of their asses and get it in gear. They just have a good offensive output. Defensively, the Browns have been pretty solid all year, but no one's really noticed because they've just been a bad football team for the first 4 weeks so far. So it's just more of a gut feeling. I just think the Browns defense has a good game. I do think running the ball is going to be an issue for the Browns. I think running the ball is going to be an issue for the Browns defense. I think Jane Daniels is going to kind of see, now that I'm saying this, I'm tempted to pick the Commanders again, but I think Jane Daniels is going to cause rushing issues to the Browns. I think Brian Robinson could have a good game, but I mean, the Commanders' offense the past 2 weeks has been unstoppable. And now they're playing a really good defense in the Browns. And if they win this game, they'll be 4-1. Like, do I really see the Commanders at 4-1? And I know that's not a good reason to make a pick, but I don't know. Tough. I'm kind of back and forth, but It's more of a gut feeling for me in this one that the Commanders look like the team we expected them to. The Browns get it in gear. So I am going to pick them. The Browns kind of know this is a crucial game. A big difference between 1-4 and 2-3. Browns obviously have aspirations of playoffs. Obviously, they want to win beyond that, but you know what I mean. I just think, I mean, every team does, but Cleveland, you know, knows that they're not playing to their expectations. I just, more of a gut feeling on this one. I think this is a tight game. Maybe the Browns kind of take control early. They kind of hold the lead, and the Commanders make a late push. It looks like they're going to win, and then the Browns hold on. Maybe kind of similar to the Jags game week 2, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. A little bit back and forth on that one. Get some water here. My throat is killing me. Okay, so next game we get Colts and Jags. I am a little bit surprised only 38% of people are on the Jags in this game. Uh, I mean, the Colts definitely could win this game. They're on a 2-game win streak. They played much better football the past 2 weeks. They've kind of looked like the Colts we've expected them to. Jags are 0-4, the only winless team in the league. They've looked pretty bad the first 4 weeks of the year. But last week they looked like the team I expected them to. And I said in my picks video last week, even though it doesn't make much sense logically, I I picked the Texans to beat them, but I'm like, I can see the Jags pulling off this upset. I just more of a gut feeling, kind of like this game. And I picked the Texans, but the Jags nearly had the game. They were right there. The Texans, they had the lead. It looked like they were going to hold on. Then they blew that chance to the goal line. Then the Stroud game winning drive. Jags blew it 0-4. But I think the Jags kind of found something. Their offense was kind of clicking, looked best it has all year, probably last week against the Texans. And the Colts defense has kind of been it hasn't it's definitely played better the past 2 weeks, but it's still not been very good this year. Jags offense got it going last week. They obviously know they're in a must-win situation. They have much bigger aspirations than tanking, obviously. They want to be a playoff team. So 0-4, they know it's a must-win game. They're at home against a team that cannot win in Jacksonville. I forget exactly how long it's been since the Colts won in Jacksonville, but it's been a long time. And yeah, the Colts have even in their wins, they've like narrowly beat the Bears, even though they kind of control the game. They just held on. Then last week against the Steelers, they almost threw a 17-0 lead. So I know they ended up holding on and Richardson got hurt, but yeah. I just think this is the game the Jags kind of pull their shit together. They did last week, similar game to how they played against the Texans. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Colts win this game. I think the Jags are. Let me check the line of this game. Also, the Jags beat the Colts both. They swept them last year. Not that obviously don't want to base too much off last year, but first time these teams are playing this year, and the Jags swept them last year, and one of them they blew them out. So I think that might have some bearing. Let me check the line of this game. Do, 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 do. Yeah, Jags are favored by 3. That I'm honestly surprised they're favored by that much. I figured it'd be like a 1.5 or 2, but I as weird as it's saying the Colts are 2-2 and the Jags are 0-4, I feel a little bit confident in my 0-4 Jaguars here. I not that they're my team, my pick, I mean. The Colts, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Colts win this game, but I just gut feeling Jags win this game. I think their defense has a pretty good game. I think Anthony Richardson. Actually, let me make sure. I think Anthony Richardson is playing. Let me see here. Unsure on Richardson as a day ago. Oh boy. Richardson doubtful. Okay, so obviously Richardson's doubtful. Let me read this real quick here. Okay, he's questionable. Okay, so regardless of who starts, I'm going with the Jags, but I'll feel more comfortable if with my pick if Joe Flacco's out there. That just takes away the mobility factor, obviously. But I just kind of have a gut feeling the Colts offense doesn't have a very good game. I just think Jags defense is a good game. Jags offense may be able to move the ball. Colts defense is a rough game. I think the Jags, maybe a little bold here. I'm going to say the Jags win this game around 24. I'm going to say maybe 27-17, maybe 24-14, something like that. I actually just feel pretty confident with the Jags in this game for some reason. Some more water in there. Oh boy, this will be a good game. Bills and Texans. Okay, so Joe Mixon's out, so that's kind of a little scary because they've kind of struggled to get the run game going when Mixon's out. Bills are coming off a loss, so they're going to be pissed off. Prime opportunity to bounce back. Oh, hang on one second. I just got a notification. Okay. Prime opportunity to bounce back for the Bills against a really, one of the elite teams in the league. So there's that factor. Whew, I don't know. I just think the Texans, even though I talked about in my last video, my week 4 recap video, but Texans, even though they're 3-1, they haven't been overly impressive to me this season, even though they've won. The Bills obviously look good the first 3 weeks of the year. They got friggin' just demolished. Just not a good game for them last week against the Ravens. But I just think the Texans offense, it's a really tough game to pick. It's honestly kind of close to a coin flip game for me. I just think Bills defense is really banged up. I think the Texans offense the past 2 weeks, the Texans offense hasn't played, you know, phenomenal. I mean, last week they were able to move the ball against the Jags, obviously score enough to win the game, but they kind of stalled out sometimes. I just kind of have a gut feeling their offense was a good game, but I'm going to say similar. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to say the Texans offense kind of is a similar game last week. They score around the same points they did last week against the Jags, I think 24. And I think the Bills, even they're banged up, they might get the ball moved on them, but they're able to kind of hold the Texans some field goals, maybe kind of force a stop here and there. I think the Bills' offense could have a bounce back game in this one. I think they could get the run game going again. Texans defense, they're good statistically in a lot of rankings, but they've also been very vulnerable to getting torched. In week 1, they not against the Bears really, but they got torched against the Colts week 1. They got torched against the Vikings. The Jags offense looked the best it has all seen against them last week. So I think the Bills offense could have a bounce back game in this one. Honestly, the more I talk about it and the more I think, I'm kind of leaning Bills, but uh, very hard game to predict. Very hard game to predict. I'm going to stick with the Texans pick, even though I'm kind of leaning Bills. I'm talking myself into the Bills here, but I'm going to lean with the Texans in this one. I think this is definitely a close game. I think this is like a 24-ish 20 type of game. I think both defenses play pretty good. Both offenses play pretty good. Really balanced game, back and forth here. I'm just going to say the Texans win this one in like a narrowly close game. But that'll mean the Bills are going to can't talk. Bills are going to drop 2 in a row if my pick is right. So, that could be, I don't know. Again, that's not a great reason to pick a game, but dropping 2 in a row isn't like, oh my God, their season's over. And the Bills have done that the past couple of seasons. They've lost a couple in a row. Looks like they're done, and they bounce back and they're fine until the playoffs, of course, where they lose to the Chiefs. But I don't know. I'm going to say the Texans win a close game in this one. I would feel a lot better if Mixon was playing, but whatever. I'm going to stick with the Texans in this game. Oh boy. This is an interesting one. I cannot believe I'm actually picking the Broncos to win. I did not think they were in a. I mean, they already have a little less than I think half the wins I predicted. I think I predicted 5-12 for them this year. So they they already have almost if they win this game, they'll have more than half the wins I predicted them to get, not even halfway through the year. So it's just that's insane. Broncos have absolutely screwed me the past 2 weeks. Oh my god, this team has been they got me out of my Spire pool 2 weeks ago, then they made me lose my parlay last week. The Broncos have been my friggin' just a thorn in my side the last 2 weeks. And obviously I'm a big rival with the Patriots from both teams who were good back in the day, so I already am not biggest Broncos guy. But oh boy. I mean, this is another hard one to pick. So I think the Raiders are getting their guys back from last week that didn't play. Besides Adams, obviously it looks like he's going to get traded. Just please, God Almighty, do not beat the Chiefs. For the love of God, help us. But I think the Raiders get their guys back. I definitely think this is an ugly, low-scoring game. I think this has 17-14, 20-14, 2017 written all over it. Yeah, I mean, maybe even a 13-10 type of game, something like that. I mean, 2017 is really super low scoring, but you guys know what I mean. I mean, two really good or not really good. I mean, the Broncos defense has been really good. Raiders defense has been, and Raiders defense has been pretty good this year outside of the Panthers game. But again, that was kind of maybe a fluke game. They didn't know what they were preparing for Dalton. Who knows? But besides that game, they've been really good. Both offenses have not been good this year. The Raiders offense, even though it's not been good, it's played a little better than the Broncos offense. Broncos offense, it just seems like in crunch time they need a score. Is even though they're playing bad up to that point, they're able to go down the field and score. That's one positive from the Broncos offense. I just think the Broncos defense is a pretty good game in this one. The Raiders offense kind of is a rough one. Think the Raiders score around. I'm gonna maybe a little bold here, but I think the Raiders only score around 13, 14 points, maybe 17-ish. Um, yeah, I can't really see the Raiders. Maybe 20 at the absolute max, and I'm gonna say around. I want to say 13, but I'll just say 14 points. Even though I think the Broncos offense isn't a great game in this one, again, Raiders really respectable defense. I think it does enough. I think the Broncos score maybe even I want to say 16 or 17 for the Broncos. I think this is definitely 16, 17 for the Broncos, 13, 14 for the Raiders. Low scoring, field goal heavy game, a lot of punting, running block, short passing, just ugly football in this one. I think the Broncos grind out an ugly win. I mean, I wouldn't be at all surprised if the Raiders win this one, though. They probably should. They're the better team than the Broncos, but if it was in Vegas, if it was in Vegas, yeah, I'd probably pick the Raiders. But it being in Denver, Broncos are getting hot, 2 wins in a row. I'll go with the Broncos in this one. Not too confident with that one though. Oh boy, Cardinals and Niners. So I'm definitely going with the Niners in this game. Cardinals. I mean, first week they look good. Week 2 they look good. It's like, all right, the Cardinals are a sleeper team this year. Then week 3 against the Lions, kind of a bad, not the type of game we expected from their offense, but their defense kept them in it. Obviously, Lions, we have big hopes for them this year. So it's like, all right, that's an acceptable loss. Then last week, they just get slaughtered by the Commanders, which, again, the Commanders have obviously surprised a lot of people, including me. But, I mean, their offense is just bad. And the Commanders' defense was bad up to that game last week. So their offense should have had a lot more success the last week. It shouldn't have been a blowout loss. The Niners got back on track against my team last week, which still pains me that game. They should be 3-1. They sold the game against the Rams. They really should have won that game, held on there, but they didn't. I just think the Cardinals, even though I think they're still a sleeper team, still going to be a respectable team for this year. I don't know, they still have some pieces that they need to address, and it's kind of showed. They're 1-3 for a reason. The Niners are the better team, but I know I feel pretty confident with the Niners. But at the same time, this could be the game that the Cardinals look like they did kind of the first 2 weeks, and they just go into San Fran and upset the Niners. Just their offense looks really good. I definitely could see a scenario like that. But I think this game plays out as probably how most people are expecting. The Niners just kind of take control early, just hold on. I don't think they. I I could see a scenario where they blow the Cardinals out, but I think it's relatively close. I think the Niners will probably be up 2 scores most of this game, maybe even extend it to 3. But it's the Cardinals are like within a reasonable score where they could make it interesting. I guess is kind of how I see this game going. But I do feel pretty good with the Niners. Wouldn't be shocked if the Cardinals win, but it would surprise me a little bit. Oh boy, Packers Rams. So I feel really good with the Packers in this game. The Rams are just beat to hell. It looked like they got something going last or 2 weeks ago when they beat the Niners, even though they should not have, as I was just saying. They were 1-2 going into Chicago against the struggling Bears offense. Prime opportunity, get a win, even out at 2-2, 500, and they lost. And I think that kind of picks up this game. The Packers have been really, really good this year. Their 2 losses, obviously the Eagles week 1 in Brazil. That was just a weird game. Just players were slipping left and right on the field. I've talked about it already, but players are slipping left and right on the field. Just breakdowns in coverages, just a bunch of fundamental issues. That was a really weird game against the Eagles week 1. They lost that, and then they lost last week against the Vikings, but down 28-0. Love maybe a little rusty coming off his injury, working his way back, and it just sloppy. They had a couple bad turnovers, and then once they pulled their heads out of their asses and played Packer football, they were neck and neck, nearly made that 28-0 comeback. So the Packers are really good this year. Rams are beat to hell. This might be a little bold, but I think the Packers win this game fairly, not easily, but fairly handedly. I guess that might be a good word to describe it. Maybe, I don't know. I just think the Packers take control of this game early. I don't want to say they blow the Rams out, but I think they're up 2 to 3 score. I'm going to say the Packers are up 3, maybe Super Bowl here, but I'm going to say the Packers are up big, maybe like something like 28 or 21-3 early, something like that. And from there, they just kind of control the whole game. I just think the Packers offense, they have a really good showing in this one against the banged up Rams defense. Rams offense, I think I'm going to say the Packers defense is a really good showing. They've been really good this year too. I think the Packers defense is really good showing. I think they get a lot of pressure on Stafford with their banged up offensive line. The Rams, I think that I don't know, my gut's telling me the Rams is just a rough, very long game for them. The Packers take control early. Yeah, the Packers take control early. They just hold on to it. Rams maybe score late, make it more respectable. But I think the Packers win this game around. Maybe it's bold, but I'm going to say they score 30 plus. I'm going to say 30, 35, maybe 35, 17, 35, 24, something along those lines. I feel pretty good with the Packers. Wouldn't be absolutely shocked if the Rams win this game, though, but I would be a little bit surprised. I don't know if I did a score prediction. I don't really do exact score predictions. I just kind of give my range, but unless it's the tiebreaker for Monday night or whatever from my pick'em league. But I think maybe I did say a score for this game. I don't know. It was in my mind over here. But I'm gonna say Niners win this game 28, or I'll say they have a big offense game. 31, maybe 35, 20, 17, 24-ish, somewhere in that range, the Cardinals. Oh boy. So I feel really good with the Seahawks in this game. Sorry, Dylan, if you're watching this video, big Giants guy. But I feel really good with the Seahawks in this game. I felt really good with the Seahawks even before they announced Neighbors was out. And it looks like Singletary is doubtful. So I'm even more confident in the Seahawks. At home, their offense has been really good all season, the Seahawks. Even though the Giants defense has kind of been sneaky underrated this year, the Seahawks offense has been really good. They played really good last week against the Lions, too. Better than the score indicates. They should have put up even more than they did. Put up 29. 2 of them came off as safety, 2 of the points. But Seahawks offense has been really good. their defense played like absolute shit last week against the Lions. Just missed tackles, blown coverages, a lot of fundamental mistakes. They were banged up, missing multiple starters. Mike McDonald, I must have said Mike McDonald's. Mike McDonald was probably all over them in the film room this week. Just probably ripped them fundamental things. And even with that, they still, I mean, just because their offense is so good, they were still right there with the Lions, competing all game. But yeah, I just think the Seahawks offense is a pretty good, maybe not as good as it has been the past couple weeks. I'll say the Seahawks offense kind of is a similar output to the game against the Dolphins 2 weeks ago, where they score, I think they scored, it was 24-3, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to say the Seahawks score around 27-ish points in this game. I just think this is a really rough game for the Giants offense. I think the Seahawks defense is a bounce back game. Giants offense is a rough game in this one. I think they're only going to be able to score around 13, 14-ish points, maybe up to 17. So yeah, I think Seahawks win this game around 27-13, 27-17, something around that range. I am very confident with the Seahawks. I would be surprised if the Giants won this one. Some water here. Okay. So, really good Sunday night game. I definitely think this is a defensive game, low scoring game. To me, this has 20-17 written all over it. I'm going with the Steelers. The Cowboys banged up defensively, obviously missing Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. That's going to be an issue. The Cowboys defense played awful this season with the exception, well, actually, I shouldn't say all season. They played really good week 1 against Cleveland, and I was going to say with the exception of last week against the Giants, but they played good half the season. And their 2 wins, they played really good, and then their 2 losses, they've looked like the worst defense in football. Is a good way to put it. Yeah, I mean, they picked it up against the Giants last week. I think they play similar to how they played against the Giants. And the Steelers find success maybe moving the ball, but the Cowboys defense forces them to a lot of field goals. I think the Steelers are going to have a good amount of punts in this game too. And I think it's kind of similar on the Steelers end. I think their defense forces the Cowboys into a good amount of punts, but I think they force the Cowboys into a lot of field goals. I definitely think this is a field goal heavy game. I think this game plays out similar to the Thursday game against the Giants last week that the Cowboys had. My gut's kind of telling me the Steelers have a rough offensive game running the ball, but they're able to find some success in the pass game, which that's kind of the opposite of like their ideal formula with Arthur Smith calling the plays. That's what my gut's telling me. I think the Cowboys are able to move the ball again, get held a lot of field goals. The Cowboys have no run game all year. I think that's the same in this game. I'm going to say the Steelers win this one 20-17. I feel pretty, maybe 23-17. I'll say 20-17. I just have a pretty good gut feeling about that score for some reason. Definitely a field goal heavy game, a lot of running clock. Wouldn't be shocked the Cowboys won, but I feel fairly good with the Steelers, especially with the Cowboys injuries. So this is probably my boldest pick. I mean, the Chiefs definitely should win this game. And there is a scenario in my head that the game plays out where the Chiefs kind of win this game, not in a blowout, but kind of handedly, I guess is the word I keep going back to. Yeah, I could see the Chiefs offense, just a lot of people I know on the Chiefs offense, including me this year, not been the typical Chiefs offense. I could kind of see them, even though they just lost Rice, going up against a really good Saints defense. I could see a rough game from their defense. I mean, their offense. A lot of people are expecting that, but part of my gut is kind of telling me the Chiefs offensively just maybe not go off, but they're able to move the ball efficiently, fairly well up and down the field this game. But I do feel fairly confident saying the Saints defense is going to hold the Chiefs to a lot of field goals. I think the Chiefs, I feel fairly comfortable saying they're going to score anywhere in the 17-26 range. I know that's kind of a wide range, maybe not like it's super bold there, but I think I can't see the Chiefs scoring any less than 17. I can't really see them scoring any more than 26 unless they get, like a muffed punt or a turnover, a pick six, or something like that. Of course, you can't really predict that well, but I think the Chiefs are able to move the ball. I think they have spurts in this game where they're able to move the ball well, and the Saints defense kind of clutches up, holding to a field goal. And the Chiefs offense, they have stretches where it's like, Jesus Christ, like this offense is just awful. They need to trade for a receiver now. They're just non-existent with Rice not being there and Kelce, his performance being a question mark. They're just the Saints defense, I think, in this game, I just talked about, I think they force a mix of punts and hold the Chiefs to field goals. I think they just double Kelce most of the game. The Chiefs have no receivers outside of Kelce. Obviously, now that Rice is hurt, probably out the year, but who knows? Maybe some optimism with his injury news. Who the hell knows? I got that notification earlier that Chiefs are looking into Jets receivers. I think maybe Mike Williams, that'd be a good fit for them. Obviously, I don't think the Jets are going to trade Garrett Wilson, but actually, I think the Jets, it said if they trade for Adams, Williams is going to have to be in the trade. So who the hell? I don't know who the hell they would trade. Maybe Alan Lazard, but Rodgers wouldn't like that. Who the hell knows? Getting ahead of myself here. So I talked about the Saints defense. Saints offense, I think, similar to the Chiefs in the aspect where Saints offense may see success moving the ball, but they're held to field goals. I do think the Saints could get some big explosive plays. I know that's my gut. I can just envision it now. Derek Carr getting a good play to Olave or maybe Shaheed beating a Chiefs blitz. I can see a scenario like that, but I think the Chiefs defense plays well enough to hold the Saints to anywhere from 17 to, I'm going to say, 23. I don't really see the Saints scoring more than 23. I don't know. It's very. I just think this is more of a defensive game, more of, I think, a lower scoring game. I think the over under is like 43, I want to say. Let me double check real quick. So yeah, obviously people aren't anticipating a shootout here. Most people picking the Chiefs, obviously they should win this game. They're at home, prime time, a better team than the Saints. They should win this game. I had them originally, and then I'm like, you know what? What the hell? I'm gonna go the upset. I feel gonna make up some ground with my picks. Not just picking them because of that. I do feel logically that the Saints definitely could win this game. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the Saints. Logically, I do think they could win the game. They shouldn't though. I don't know, just small part of my gut telling me the Saints are going to do it, go into Arrowhead and pull it off. No one's expecting them to. Chiefs are obviously very overdue for a loss. Very overdue for a loss. They're 4-0 this season. They've won, what, 10 games in a row now, I want to say. Let's see, they won 4 here, 4 in the postseason. That's 8. And then they won 17, 18. Yeah, that's 10 games. And 10 games in a row. Maybe even 11. I think it's, yeah, 10 games. They won 10 games in a row, I'm pretty sure. So they're obviously very overdue for a loss. Saints have lost 2 in a row. They could be 4-0 too. To make an argument there. Again, reality is they're 2-2. They were right there the past 2 games though. So they've lost 2 in a row. I just kind of think the Saints offense does just enough. They just outperformed the Chiefs offense thanks to maybe beating the Spagnuolo blitz, get a big pass play. Saints might have a couple nice runs out of Kamara out in this game, maybe, but I think for the most part, the Chiefs stopped the Saints' run game, kind of shut it down most of it. I just think the difference is Saints' offense, those explosive plays, they're able to punch in maybe a touchdown or two. The Chiefs, they maybe hold the Chiefs to 1 or 2. I just think, yeah, I don't know. I'm back and forth in this one. You guys probably tell. I just think the Saints offense, maybe they're able to have 1 extra touchdown that decides the game against the Chiefs. I'm going to say 23 23-17 Saints. Maybe that's really bold. I know I said Chiefs going to get a lot of field goals at 17. That's really only one, most likely, if you get 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. I know that's kind of contradicting myself. I'm just so back and forth on this game. Chiefs should win. I had them. I changed it. So the Chiefs are definitely going to win now. Then I'm going with the Saints. I just logically, I'm kind of feeling the upset. And logically, there is some points, at least that in my mind, Saints could win this game. Oh God, this game, I'm gonna look like a freaking idiot in this one. I know it, I know it, I know it. Okay, let me look at the over/under. Yeah, 43. So not a lot of high scoring in this game. Well, according to Vegas, with the over/under at least. I could see 26-20, 23-20. I think even if the Chiefs win, it's around the same score that I'm predicting with the Saints. I think if the Chiefs win, it'll be 23-17, something like that. But I'm going to go with the Saints around 23-17. I think it's definitely a close game. Maybe the Saints defense clutches up at the end. And then the talk for the next week is the Chiefs going to trade for a receiver with Rice presumably out for the year. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I have my 40 here. I'm predicting a 23-17 game. But yeah, very bold of me. That and the Browns pick. If they end up losing, I'm going to look like the biggest idiot. But yeah, had a pretty good week. Not a pretty good week last week, but better than the past 2 weeks. I went 10-6 this past week in my picks. The past 2 weeks prior, I went 6-10 both weeks, so that was awful. I'm off to the worst. Of course, the first season I start making NFL content is my worst pick 'em week. Sorry, so friggin' anyone watching this, like this guy is an idiot, doesn't know anything about football. But everyone's off to like the worst pick 'em start ever with all these upsets. So at least I'm not the only one. At least I'm not the only one. I went 13-3 my first week, so at least I had that going. But week 5, is usually when all the insane, unforeseeable not unforeseeable, like shocking upsets kind of are less frequent. The good teams are revealed as the good teams, kind of the surprise teams maybe fade back down a bit. But yeah, a lot of good games this week. Excited to watch this game early, have something on early rather than, just mentally getting ready for the day, betting, setting my lineups and stuff for fantasy. That'll be good to have on in the morning. Good London game too. A lot of good games. Obviously excited for my team. I think we should win this one. And if we're 2-3, even though as bad as we've been, that's on par with some teams that have high expectations this year. Yeah, a lot of good games. A lot of good games this week. Yep, looking forward to Texans or Bills Texans. As weird as it might seem to say, I'm kind of excited to see how this game plays out. Real excited for the Monday game. Kind of excited for this. I think defensive battle. Yeah, a lot of good games this week. Definitely excited for this game too. A lot of good. Hopefully, Caleb Williams, Bears offense get it going. I like the Bears, so I'd like to see them get a nice win. But yeah, a lot of exciting games. Again, sorry for getting this video out late. I've just been freaking slammed this week. My life is just super busy right now. So I apologize for getting it out late, but it is what it is. I'm trying to get it out early, but I'm just slammed right now. So I apologize on that end. But yeah, I'll end the video here. Good luck to everyone tomorrow in fantasy betting, all that good stuff. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and enjoy football tomorrow. Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks guys. Take it easy.